I'm going to baste this piece so that you actually see the basting process. I want to baste it with my thread, with the knot on the right side of the fabric, so that I can pull the tails when I get to that point. So I'm just going to go a little bit away from the batting. This has been glued and pinned, although sometimes the glue does not hold very well. But once the fabric is in it, once the cardboard is pinned, you're going to be fine with the fabric. I'm leaving a tail on the front so that when I come back, I can draw the basting up tight with the tail and whatever the other thread is that's left from the basting. I have a very long basting thread this time because I'm going to try and do the lacing with the same basting thread. That's why my thread is so long right now. And this is a doubled sewing thread. See, we're at the point. I'm going to take another stitch, taking a tiny stitch at the point, and hopefully that will help this lay down better. Okay. When you get back to the end, or back to the beginning where you started, remember you want to take one stitch and then you want to make sure that you bring out the last stitch on the right side of the fabric again so that it's right near the other end, so that when you tie it off, you can just pull both threads, both sides of the thread. Okay, well, we have this in hand. I'm going to pull the threads up into the center of the ornament so that when I go around to cut this out, I'm not going to be cutting threads, just the fabric. Okay, now we're going to take this fabric, and again, we're going to lay this down. Make sure that you've got your piece centered where you want it to be. Lay it on your padding. And pull your thread around. And pull both threads. And when you have them tight, check and make sure that you're evenly distributed around the front. You lay that back down, and you're going to take those threads and tie them together so that your gathers stay in. You're going to want to tie them several times. Now, I'm going to just tie cut just the tail with the knot off, and I'm going to use the thread that's still on the ornament and knotted. It's the basting thread. We can use that to lace the back of the ornament, just like we did the other one, although this is all done with the same piece of thread. Don't pull it so tightly that you're going to make your cardstock curl. I left the fabric a little bit longer on the back of this piece, so it was much easier to bring that point in. It's not such a hard part. So once you have all your fabric laced, and you've taken the last couple of stitches to make sure that it's all together, tie a knot in your thread, and now is the time to take your loop with that same thread and attach the loop to the top of your ornament piece. I'm going to tie off the lacing and knot it. And then I'm going to take my loop, and I've bent the ribbon in half. You want the two pieces of the ribbon together, and you can stitch over them and stitch into them. You do want to pierce that ribbon because you want it to stay on the inside of the ornament. So you're going to need to put several stitches into it, because this is the only part of the ornament that's going to get any tension. It's the weak point, because that's what you're going to handle all the time. It's the loop. When you're hanging it, when it's hanging on the tree, you don't want this part to come out. Okay, I've stitched through it quite a few times. I don't think my loop is going to go anywhere. So now I'm going to tie it off, and then I'll be able to cut the gathering thread. And you can go back and you can adjust your bow, and we'll be ready to move on to the next part. One thing that you do want to do, or you may want to do, is to lay your ornament on the batting and very carefully and lightly just press that silk down just a little bit, and that'll make it lay down better. You can go back and do the same thing with your other piece. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on it because you have those wired elements and the beads on the front. You do not want to squash them. So the next part is simple, relatively. Now that you have both of your pieces pressed and everything is, the edges all look nice and even, you're going to take both pieces and turn it over, and gently holding your piece, you're going to put some of this glue stick or double-sided sticky tape on the fabric in the center of your piece, so that you don't actually glue onto the embroidered piece. And take your two pieces and match the point, match the bottom, and using our little mini clips, we're going to clip this and let it dry. Don't leave your clips on for too long, or they'll leave indentations in your ornament. Just give it a few minutes to dry. And once they've dried, Barabara is going to teach us how to finish the edge. So once they're dry, it'll look like this. And we're going to be finishing it with the Palestrina stitch that Barbara Meager is going to teach next. Thank you. I hope you've all enjoyed this project. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of ornaments this year finished for our show and share in January.